Well, hello peeps. Here I have for you some gameplay on the new BG Deephaul Ravine while playing the Aldrachi Reaver Demon Hunter. So today I want to continue the conversation on stacking modifiers, kind of more specifically on the Demon Hunter, and also just talk a little bit how I feel about the Demon Hunter going into War Within, what I feel about the hero specs and such. So first off, after testing quite a few classes, the DH is feeling a little bit underwhelming. Simply, it's one of those situations, it's like when you see the possibilities, and when you see the possibilities are endless, right, with survival hunter or just hunters in general. Monk also feels really good how they changed it and worked on it. Then yeah, some other classes like Demon Hunter and Warrior as well start to feel a little bit underwhelming. Now there is some tuning stuff like your defense. It's just not good right now. It's very bad, specifically when I would like compare it to how DK feels and how Monk feels, but you know, it's just kind of how would you say, thing of tuning, right, that they can just really work on. I don't feel like it's design issue. The design issue really comes from like the talents, right, the updated to the talents that like not really the new specs, the specs that got the update to the talents that got, like Monk and Hunter, right, and even like DK, like, that feels amazing. But then you look at something like Warrior and like, okay, this is like half worked on. Look at something like Demon Hunter, like where is the actual work, right? You think you're gonna pass off the work you did in Dragonflight for us as like how'd you say, instead of it? I guess, yeah. So with the recent changes to Aldrachi Reaver, making Thrill of the Hunt 30% damage buff not be just for one ability, but for 10 seconds, kind of made it the de facto single target choice in my opinion. It's also kind of nuts right now, since the Reaver's Mark, you have, you know, if you combine those two things, you have 60% damage amplification. That just all creates some issues, right? First of all, getting some very bad RNG on your souls can feel very bad, and just something that will make the class feel underpowered. It's kind of a feeling thing, so I just wanted to kind of talk about that first. It's not like something that's game breaking or something that's as big as like the other things. Second, it's just too much, like 60% damage modification that can also affect your burst. This just makes a huge issue when you're like, I think even a balancing issue. Like I feel like Blizzard standpoint as well, they should not be trying to have things like this, but like your burst when you're have all your modifiers up is gonna be extremely buffed compared to Felscard, right? Felscard being the other Demon Hunter hero spec that is just not gonna, doesn't have like a nearly the damage modifications of this, so it's a huge, I think, burst problem. And finally, swapping targets just barely becomes like, it's just impossible. Like you can't swap targets. Like once you have a Reaver's Mark on one target, you basically have to hit that target. There's like multiple reasons for that. First of all, your soul generation, actually a lot of it comes from the Reaver's Mark. You getting auto attacks on the target, so if you want to get like another glaive going, you're gonna have to kind of want to, or I should say, you want to attack that target still. And then if you like even try to do something funny like swap targets and you get some bad RNG, yeah, you just feel like you're doing basically zero damage. I mean, 60% damage amp, I feel like is just too much, and definitely something that's problematic in PvP. Gonna be problematic in PvP. I hope. I don't know how they kind of balance this. Like I feel like this would need a rework, honestly. Like one of those buffs is okay, 30%, and then you can kind of tune it in PvP. But like, if two buffs, then you have to tune them down so you're not having too much burst. But then you also have to tune up the class so the class is actually doesn't feel underpowered, right? Because the class is gonna feel underpowered if you, you know, otherwise, because you're losing. Let's say they take it by half. It's that's a lot of damage modification. Like now, Felscard, we're gonna talk about another time. I want to kind of play it a little bit more. I also want to try and get like a soul shuffle going, or some screams going instead of like a BG. I think don't want to saturate you guys with the battlegrounds, right? So yeah, I will try to kind of play it more and give you like my full opinion once I've played it more. Just right now I feel like it's good, it's fun, I like it, it's playstyle, but 60% damage modification on your burst versus like all those things just have to be 60% better, need to be a 60% buff to your class, right? And I don't feel like they are. I don't feel like Felscard has that right now, like where your single target is buffed by 60%. Compared to not having a hero spec, right? Because that's basically what Aldrachi Reaver does. It gives you 60% more damage, right? Oh, and 30% more damage on Chaos Strikes, so it ends up being a 90% damage modification on Chaos Strikes. And that's just a passive baseline thing, right? But yeah, ultimately it just feels like Demon Hunter a little bit is underwhelming going into the War Within. How to say? Now seeing the possibilities, it just feels underwhelming, right? Especially with like them not even working on things like, let's say, like PvP talents. I feel like Chaotic Imprint is something that should just get removed from the freaking game. There's no reason for it to exist anymore. The skill part of that PvP talent doesn't exist anymore as well, because it used to, it actually had a skill component, right? You would try to keep the Chaotic Imprint on like a specific buff, usually fire, for yourself, or if you're playing with another class, you're trying to get, right, their preferred damage type as your like debuff. But yeah, now you're just spamming Throglaive as a damage part of your rotation, so it just a thing that's constantly changing that really doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't have any kind of skill component when you like think about it, and it just is a, how to say, dead talent slot. It makes it so Demon Hunter has actually 2 talent slots. You can't really pass on 10% damage modification. That's a huge ass nerf, and it's a constant like buff. Like, it's on all of your damage basically. Like, very small amount of your damage is like purely physical, so where you're like actually, right, not benefiting from the PvP talent. So that's also something that needs to just be taken a look. Any means necessary needs to be like put in a much better position. I think it's like very key to how we play DH, I think, these days. But I don't know, that maybe I'm not sure about those things. Like, maybe the PvE fellas can correct me here. But yeah, as far as PvP is considered, any means necessary should just be a very early talent, because we're always gonna be playing it. There's just no chance you're gonna be playing, I think, a different build, at least until they kind of do maybe some changes, or maybe somebody comes up with something interesting with one of the hero specs. We'll see. Well, peeps, that's about for me. I'm just gonna let you enjoy the rest of the video. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, all those things that YouTubers want you to do, and have a nice day.